Right now on News 4 at 6, a local teacher is identified as the victim of a boat crash in the small boat harbor in Buffalo. We'll tell you his name and what happened in the moments after 3 men crashed their fishing boat. Plus, scary moments at the Walden Galleria, who police are looking for after a shooting in the mall parking lot. And sad news out of One Bills Drive tonight. Former head coach Chuck Knox dies at 86. More on his legacy right here in Buffalo.
And here in Buffalo, we're seeing blue skies, but other areas around western New York are actually seeing much cooler temperatures and a little bit of cloud cover. When that will all change, coming up.
Topping our 6 o'clock tonight, we're following 2 developing stories across western New York. Police are investigating a shooting at the Walden Galleria, but first we're learning new details tonight about a deadly boating accident at the small boat harbor here in Buffalo. We've learned that the man killed in Saturday's boating accident has been identified as 43-year-old Eric Pryzutka. He was a Lancaster middle school teacher and the Lancaster Central Teachers Association president. The school released a statement tonight expressing their condolences for this loss. Saturday night, the U.S. Coast Guard says Pryzutka's body was pulled from the water just before 9 in the morning. You're seeing video now from the scene of the accident. Coast Guard leaders tell us he was with 2 other men out in the harbor on a fishing boat when their boat crashed into the breakwall late last night. 2 of the men were wearing life vests, but Pryzutka was not. The boaters with life preservers were rescued and treated on scene. He is survived by his wife and 2 children. Our other big story we're following tonight, Cheektowaga police say multiple shots were fired in broad daylight. Let's send it over to News 4's Shannon Smith. She's live for us at the Galleria with the initial steps in this investigation. Shannon, what are you learning tonight?
Well, Marissa, the parking lot here, the Macy's parking lot here at the Walden Galleria is back open after Cheektowaga say there was a shooting this afternoon. But just to be clear, this all happened in the parking lot, not in the actual mall. Now, police tell us that no one was hurt that they know of right now, but they did just clear up this scene, this parking lot here, just within the last hour. But I want to show you what it looked like earlier today. Cheektowaga police say at least 8 shots were fired in the Macy's parking lot at the Walden Galleria. It happened a little bit before 3 o'clock this afternoon. Now, officers say at least 2 groups of people were involved and that they were possibly in 2 different vehicles. Now, at this time, investigators say they don't believe anyone was hurt, but they tell us that the shooter was on foot with a gun and got into another car, but it's no word on how many people total were involved.
Jason's here at the scene. We don't believe this is a random act, but we do believe it's a targeted attack between these 2 groups. So we're in the process of collecting some evidence and reviewing some video footage.
Now, though police say they believe that this was a targeted shooting, they did not or could not comment on whether this was gang related at all. Now, police say that although they don't believe anyone was hurt, they have put out calls to local hospitals to try to see if any victims have come forward. But they are, again, just reviewing that surveillance video. But we will continue to update you on this story on air and online. For now, live at the Walden Galleria in Cheektowaga, Shannon Smith, News 4 at 6.
Shannon, thank you for that update. Also developing this evening, breaking windows, stealing valuables. Buffalo police are looking for the person responsible for damaging at least 20 cars in a parking ramp overnight. Police say this happened in the Mohawk parking ramp on Washington Street in downtown Buffalo. Central District officers tell us they don't know how many people are involved in this. They do know it happened around 5:15 this morning. We spoke to one person who walked into the lot to find his car broken into and damaged.
It's sickening. It made me not even want to live down here. Like, you expect I go in the house and park my car somewhere. I expect it to be okay, especially inside the parking ramp. When you come outside and your car is tore up, it's like, come on, it's ridiculous.
Buffalo police are following this, and they do have some leads. They're asking anyone with any information to call or text their confidential tip line. That number is here on your screen, 847-2255. Well, last week on News 4, we explored how the East Side is working to get its piece of the Buffalo resurgence. Tonight, News 4's Jen Shantz gives us a project on Jefferson Avenue that could help bring back lost business.
This empty lot on Jefferson Avenue between Northampton and Southampton streets is symbolic of a new beginning. At least that's the hope for President and CEO of People Incorporated, Rhonda Frederick.
I think it will be the catalyst for huge change in the neighborhood.
A neighborhood that's seen businesses close and people leave over the years. Buffalo Mayor Byron Brown showed us around the Jefferson Avenue apartment site, one of several projects the city is helping to fund to bring the East Side back to its former glory.
Eventually here you will see 84 housing units between two buildings.
Making the housing affordable was a priority, according to Frederick.
So based on your income is how your rent is determined. And there will be apartments at every income level.
There will be also retail spaces that will help to bring retail businesses back to Jefferson Avenue.
The $24 million project is getting money from the city and the state, along with both federal and state tax credits. Teaming up with Sinatra and Company Real Estate, the mixed income housing project will also include space for people with disabilities. Frederick says she wants this project to benefit the people who live in this neighborhood, which turns out happens to be many of her employees.
We have a lot of People Incorporated employees who live in this neighborhood and are really excited about the possibility of having an apartment in the neighborhood.
There will also be a recruitment center right on site, so People Inc. can continue to grow its team. Mayor Brown says this is one of many projects the city is backing on the East Side.
We also will be investing in our youth with the Johnny B. Wiley Stadium. Several $1 million will be invested in that facility.
Construction starts on the Jefferson Avenue apartments in October after some environmental work is done to make sure the ground in and around the site is healthy. Frederick would like to find a historically significant name for the site, but she says for now, Jefferson Avenue Apartments will do. Jen Shantz, News 4.
Turning to your forecast and your Sunday evening, a picture-perfect Mother's Day night as we take a live look from our tower cam over the waterfront. A few lingering boats in the water, certainly a perfect day for that. Let's turn it over to meteorologist Kaylee Went, who's tracking what's in store for the rest of the evening and into your work week. Good evening, Kaylee.
Good evening. It's been a beautiful day for most of you around Western New York. Here in Buffalo, at least, we've had wide open sunshine. Temperatures actually topped out at about 73 degrees today. Niagara Falls stayed a few degrees cooler, hitting just at 70, but really the most staggering numbers come across the southern tier. And in those areas, really the high temperature topped out in the low to mid 50s. So it was a lot cooler down along that New York-Pennsylvania state line, and it remains that same way as we head into the later portions of this evening tonight. And I know it's hard to believe if you're watching and you're in Buffalo, you're seeing still all of that sunshine, but across the southern tier, there's actually a couple spotty showers rolling through and some pretty thick cloud cover. Now the line on this really extends from, say, Springville further south, and that's where the thickest of the clouds remain. Again, a couple of scattered showers are happening, but other than that, quiet across the southern tier despite some of the cloud cover. If you head further north, though, you can really use that dividing line from, again, Springville north. That's where all the sunshine is, and that's where it's going to stay throughout the remainder of the evening tonight. Now, I did want to point out, in addition to the cloud cover across the southern tier, we've actually got a little bit of fog, and that's reduced visibility substantially. Down in Wellsville, we're down to about a half mile. Places like Olean, Bradford, and Jamestown down to that 2 mile mark. But again, it's a totally different story, a tale of two cities if you head further north, where those visibility numbers sit near 10 miles, which is what we want to see this time of year. Now, heading into the evening tonight, these temperatures will go from the 70s down into the 40s and low 50s. So overall, pretty quiet, but definitely cooling down quite a bit. I'll let you know in my full 4 forecast in just a few minutes what temperatures look like as you start the work week.
Kaylee, thank you. Turning now to another update for you this evening. We now know the name of the suspect in the deadly knife attack Saturday in Paris. Russian officials say the suspect, 20-year-old Kusan Azimov, was fatally shot by police. He was a Russian citizen until he was 14 years old and then became a French citizen. A 29-year-old man was killed in this attack. 4 other people were also wounded. The United States is set to open a new embassy in Jerusalem tomorrow. Both Israelis and Palestinians claim the city as their capital. That's leading to both celebrations and protests. Meg Oliver reports.
Israelis sang and danced in the streets to recognize Jerusalem Day. The celebration comes as final preparations are made for the opening of the new U.S. Embassy in the city. White House senior advisor Jared Kushner and his wife, President Trump's daughter Ivanka, are part of the U.S. delegation that will attend Monday's ceremony. In December, the president broke with decades of U.S. policy and decided to move the American embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. Israel's prime minister praised Mr. Trump for recognizing the city as Israel's capital.
President Trump is making history. We are deeply grateful.
Israelis living near the new embassy are also grateful.
We thank America and we thank Trump.
The holy city of Jerusalem is important to Jews, Christians, and Muslims. Palestinians also claim the city as their capital and have been protesting for weeks. Palestinian leaders say Trump's decision hurts any chance of the U.S. negotiating peace in the Middle East.
It ended, from our point of view, the role of the United States as the broker, the owner of the peace process.
Earlier this week, protesters in Gaza set fires. Palestinians are getting ready for another massive protest Monday near the border with Israel. Meg Oliver, CBS News, New York.
Back here at home, it is a celebration of Mom at Sisters Hospital. Next on News 4, how new moms are getting the royal treatment in honor of Mother's Day. And soccer fans pack a Western New York restaurant, why they say this is one of the most exciting times for the sport.